Shalom. This is Sophia, your friendly neighborhood Schumann, and we're here with our Capricorn full moon video. This is the first Capricorn full moon of the year, and this is really an exciting midpoint for us because, as you can see, well, this is 2023. As you can see, the very first, we're not calling them new moons anymore, we're calling them dark moons. Because technically the new moon is when you start to actually see the first sliver of the moon. That's technically the new moon. So we're rolling with the dark moon, which is the opposite of the full moon. Okay, so the very first lunation of the Gregorian year for 2024 was on January the 11th. And that is really, really exciting because now we're dealing with all energies that are just in this calendar year. It's really like a real halfway point through the calendar year as far as the energy is concerned. Now we're going to start flipping. We should start seeing endings to the stuff that happened in the first half of the year, and then we're setting up, basically the start of our 2025. So this is a really, really exciting an interesting change in cycle. And as far as like the tarot spiral is concerned, this is where we go from the summer solstice, the first 3 months of this sort of cycle, into the next 3 months on this cycle, headed towards fall equinox. So this is just, to me, summer is my favorite time of the year anyway. So to me, this is like a really exciting change of pace. And this particular lunation is also really, really laden with stuff that's going on. So again, this is our first Capricorn full moon, because we have another Capricorn full moon next month, actually at 29 degrees. So we'll be revisiting a lot of these same energies again. And we have a Capricorn dark moon at the end of this year, and then in 2025 we don't have any Capricorn moons. This is it. So, I mean, dark moons at all in 2025. So, this is again a really, really exciting time, because next year we have back to back Virgo dark moons and no Capricorn moons. So this is like this Capricorn energy this month and the next month, and then we'll, like I said, revisit it at the end of the year. This is going to be really, really important. Plus, also in 2025, we switch nodes from from Libra and Aries to Virgo and Taurus. So it's going to be this is a really, really exciting energy that we're kind of now wrapping up from this Libra, Aries, North Node, South Node, well, South Node, North Node, the way I said it, cycle, going into a new cycle. So, what else about this lunation? Okay, let's keep going. All right, so remember, the dark moon is the receiving moon, where you receive the experiences of the whole house theme, and the full moon is the releasing moon, where we release blockages to the whole house theme. Okay, so let's take a look at Capricorn. We're going to become very familiar with Capricorn energy. So this is Hannah L. This karmic original principle of the whole cosmic hierarchy has been controlled from the beginnings of time by the 10th original genius of the Jupiter sphere on all planets and in all spheres. The magician, taking interest in this particular matter, can be informed of the effects of karmic laws in all spheres and planes, and he will learn how, from the magical Kabbalistic point of view, the original karmic principles and their laws can be made use of in various spheres. So this is literally where the karma is going to be dealt out. This is what makes this year karmic year. Yes, it's an 8 year and all this other stuff, but we have two back-to-back karmic full moons. And remember, full moons is for releasing blockages. So all the things they've been trying to block in, if it doesn't hit them like this, that like with this full moon, by the next full moon, they're going to be hit. So like for me, it seemed like a lot of my stuff is just not really going to change the way it's supposed to until July. And now I can see why. It's like these blockages just have to be removed, especially since we identified with the Capricorn new moon what our own personal blockages were, or the ones that were just like generally hanging around the planet. We can specifically revisit those. This is why I suggest that you keep notes, and you revisit those things that you put down with your Capricorn dark moon or new moon back in January. So hopefully you all have been keeping notes. Or if not, just refer back to your candles or wherever. I'm sure you've been keeping notes because I, always talk about how important it is to keep notes, especially on what you specifically asked for, so you can keep track of if this is working or not. Part of this experiment is that you have to keep track of the results for yourself to be able to say, okay, this was a worthwhile investment of my time, or if this type of stuff doesn't work for you. Me, myself, I see 100% of what I ask for show up. When I follow my intuitive guidance, 100% of what I need is what happens. Almost every single time. I mean, without exception. So hopefully you are having a similar experience. All right, so let's keep moving. All right, so with the Capricorn full moons are always right burn or release. So if you've had stuff you've been holding on to burn, now is the time for right burn or release. So you want to right burn or release a statement related to the house your Capricorn falls in. Burn that with some ancestor money. And then on a black candle, ask your angels to assist what they specialize in. I'm going to suggest that you get a black candle. I know that I'm making this video really late. But today is a federal holiday, so I'm hoping that some of you all are off and you can go out and get black candles. I think for the dark moon, I did not insist on a black candle. This time I am. The energies, and we'll see when we get to the angels that we're dealing with, but this particular lunation, I think, unlike the other lunation, incorporates signs from all four elements. We have earth with the Capricorn, air, fire, water. We have all the elements. So I think that you could use a white candle. If you can't find a black candle, you can use a white candle because they're pretty much the same. But if you can get a black candle, definitely burn a black candle with this one in particular, because the energy is just aligned that way. I'm gonna have to go out of my way to get some black candles. And since if you're gonna go and get black candles, just get 2 for next month, because next month is also gonna be black candles, because we have another Capricorn full moon. So we have back-to-back lunations just like this. I think with the when we start the mystery school, we'll try to get candles for the whole year. So all you have to do is pick them up, write them. They'll be hopefully already dressed. All you had to do is customize it with whatever you customize with, and I think that's probably one of the things that we're going to do. So anyway, on the candle, ask your angels to assist what they specialize with. All right, and so of course, let's look at the right burn and release for Capricorn. So Capricorn in general is releasing any and all blockages to teaching, time and space, dynamic force, career, status, authority, publications, honors, and Father the Most High. So that's really the energy that's coming in, releasing any blockages to any of that. And we have a double dose of this, so this is really really exciting. All right, so let's take a look at the actual sky picture here for a minute. As you can see, we have the moon at 1 degree of Capricorn. We also have Pluto at 1 degree of Capricorn. We have Neptune at 29 degrees. We have Sedna at 0 degrees of Gemini. Neptune is at 29 degrees of Pisces. Sedna is at 0 degrees of Gemini. The sun is at 1 degree of Cancer, but we also have Vesta up there at 0 degrees of Leo. So that's fire, water, well, fire, air, water, fire, air, water, and earth. Yeah, that's all the that's all the signs. The I brought in Neptune because it's in a square to the sun and also a square to the moon is in a square element to the sun and the moon. I don't know if that's called a T square or not, but it's definitely in a square. But it's also in a trine energy to Vesta here. And normally we don't include Vesta. However, and in Neptune is also in a sextile, which is a positive relationship to Neptune. So we normally don't, and it's in a sextile to Pluto. So I normally don't include Vesta, but it's triggered by this Neptune. This Neptune is triggered by the sun and the moon, and it's kind of like you'd have to go and listen to some astrologers talk about how this is sort of playing out, but really it's quite fascinating. So we have a lot of energy. So not only do we have all four elements activated, we have a lot of energy that's complementary and not quite as much energy that's square or harsh aspects. But what is harsh is the sun and the moon to Neptune. So it's kind of like what is harsh is really harsh. But that's really the only like harsh aspect. Everything else is pretty is flowing well. So this is really, really exciting. So this lunation takes place on the 21st at 9:08 p.m. Again, I started actually calculating it myself as opposed to listening to what everyone else says, and it makes a huge difference in energetically, especially with the numbers. So you have 9 and 8; those are both literally my numbers. So, and we're, excuse me, in an 8 year and a 9 plus 8, 17, which is also an 8. So this is, indicating that this 8-8 is going to be really important. That's coming up. And also we have Vesta in Leo, which is when the 8-8 portal is going to kind of open. So this indicates to me that we might be getting a peek into that energy. And also this Aquarius is like in exact opposition, just like the sun and the moon, to Vesta. So Vesta being like the Vestal virgins, lighting the flame. Pluto being like death and rebirth. So just like the sun is illuminating the moon to its full light, Vesta is illuminating Pluto to its full light. So I've not been taking this energy well, honestly. It's been quite difficult. And maybe other people aren't taking it quite as hard as I am, but I'm having a pretty difficult time with this energy. Not going to lie. I mean, some of y'all know I was supposed to have a call on Monday. I forgot about the whole thing. It's just been difficult. I think I'm going to have to take a quote unquote vacation from my groups and stuff that I just kind of got started, because this month, this energy is just it's overwhelming, and I'm already working on a lot of stuff that I can keep going without being super overwhelmed by this stuff. So anyway, we'll see how it goes, how things roll along. But this energy is very, very aggressive, in my opinion, but in a good way, because we need to have these endings. We need this karma to be served. We need this justice to be doled out. And the only way we can get it is if it is done. And the only way it can get done is if the person who is in charge of doling out the karma comes in and does it fairly. This would be like Pluto, and does it under, the light of the sun. And so I'm assuming that at the end of July, Pluto is still going to be at this 1 degree more than likely, because this moves really slowly, especially when it's going in retrograde. And we're still going to have Vesta going direct. Vesta is direct, so it's in a more powerful energy than Pluto. So this Pluto Vesta opposition is probably going to be playing out for the whole rest of the summer almost, until Pluto gets into yeah, and probably until Pluto gets into Aquarius. I mean, what's it going back to? Capricorn. And then we have the whole Capricorn aspect. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty intense June and July, if it hasn't already been for you. So that's my commentary. All right, so I have the energies broke down into 3 pages. We have a 1 degree page, we have a 29 degree page, and then we have a 30 degree page, because from what I understand, you round the signs up to read the incoming energy, which is why we have all the 30 degrees. But I also like to take inventory of the energy that's already here, so we capitalize on that. And that's the difference between the way I interpret the energies, and or like, they have Sabian symbols. I would interpret them differently, because people are always looking to what's coming next, and if you're looking ahead, you can't be present in what's now. You might miss what's going on right now. And so I wish that more people who read Sabian symbols would acknowledge the value in the energy that's present right now, but they don't seem to find any value in that. So, that's something that I do. And we are going to get into Sabian symbols probably with the start of the new, the fiscal year in September, because it would be too difficult for me to integrate that right now. I've been trying to figure out how to put it in there, but I have to really go back and research the symbols a little bit, and I haven't really had the time that I would like to do that. So anyway, that's just a little bit of housekeeping. Okay, so let's get on to this lunation. So we have the moon at 1 degree of Capricorn, and that's Milan. It says this spirit intelligence introduces the spiritual light to divine magic, especially the magic of the Akasha, and teaches him how to produce consciously in the Akasha various causes in the spiritual manner in order to bring about certain effects in the mental, astral, and physical world. As soon as the spiritual light completely controls this kind of magical practice, he is able to produce causes in the Akasha principle long before their realization, even many years before their realization. By this, the spiritual light becomes a perfect master in the field of fate control and has his own karma as well as the karma of other people well in his hands. This is what they have been using to keep us down. Like, I was just before I made this video, I was just looking through Twitter, trying to, recenter myself, refocus myself. And I saw that today, which is Juneteenth, which is, a holiday that, quote unquote, when the slaves in Texas found out they were free way after everyone else. But why did Taylor Swift release her first song on this day? Why was the 10 billionth patent issued from the patent office on this day? Like, If this day don't mean anything, why are these people you Taylor Swift, this was 18 years ago today that this happened to you. Again, the 1 and the 8 and the 9. Like, if this day isn't important, why are they using this day to do their stuff? So, that tells me again, as I say with all holidays, they're all important. They all mean something. Obviously, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be using them the way that they do. So we don't want to miss out on any energy that we could be utilizing to, improve and enhance our lives. So that's what I'm going to suggest, that you don't miss no opportunities to improve or enhance your life. You have no idea what these people are doing, what they have planned, what they anything. So it's better to just participate and get what you can get out of it than not, in my opinion. Because they're using everything. I mean, Taylor Swift, of all the people, ridiculous. Okay, so we have Pluto at okay, so some things you could ask Milan for would be Milan, oh goodness. Isn't Milan in Paris? Another French connection. Um, you could just ask to understand what divine magic is. That's probably that would be the safest thing to stick with for now, or access to divine magic. Although I feel like we've already been using this, it's just that it's been countered by so much of this other stuff they've been doing. Okay. All right, Pluto's at 1 degree of Aquarius, and that's Phrases. This head taught mankind how to sharpen things. First, man learned how to sharpen his knives, swords, and all other weapons. Then, as time went on, he also learned how to cut stones and gems. The instrument necessary for the sharpening and cutting, the whetstone, has reached its modern perfection due to inspiration by this head. Phrases is the guardian of all people having to do with the art of cutting, sharpening, and grinding. And we are, to be sharpeners of each other. Um, you know, uh, so that's kind of how that energy ties in. Although I feel like it's probably best to ask this guy to, cut any and all contracts with, entities, uh, just with all of them. This is a good, to me, this will be a good guy for cord cutting. That's my feeling. In fact, so I'm talking about feelings. I'm trying to see if I got some incense handy. I may have been jacked for all my incense. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So, speaking of cutting, I need better burn some incense. Yeah, I would be asking this guy to show you how to do your own the cord cutting that's best for you. Okay. All right, the next person we have is Proxones. This is for 1 degree of Gemini, where Saturn is at 0 degrees, but of course, like I said, the 0 degree mark activates the 1, the 29, and the 30. The 29 and 30 of the previous sign, and the 1 of the sign that it actually is in. Right? So, Proxones, and it's the energy that we had last month too, I do believe, because it was Gemini. This spiritual light will be given exact information by this head on all questions dealing with electric fluid and its reaction to mental, astral, and physical planes. Proxones is regarded as the master of electric fluid and therefore also the master of electricity. At the same time, he is a special guardian of inventions, and as far as those concerned with the basics of electricity, he keeps them in the right equilibrium. So this is a guy that is for equilibrium, keeping things even, bringing things back to even. Definitely need that to restore, order from this chaos that they've just caused regarding everything. And whatever what I do is from month to month when I write down what I specifically ask the spirit intelligences to do or to help me with, I just repeat them until I feel like I have a full understanding of whatever it was that I asked for, and then I may change my question to be more specific. But I do reuse the statements. That's why I don't give my personal statements in these videos, because I reuse them. And if I gave them out, reuse my statements, they wouldn't be as powerful as you making up your own statements. Right? Okay. So the next one we have is the sun at 1 degree of Cancer. And just look at how many things just activate this 1 degree. What is it? 5? 1, 2, 3. That's a lot of energy. And we still got 6 more after this. So this is 11 different spirit intelligence that are like really active. And that's without going into any of the other like stuff, the fixed stars and all the stuff that I'm not super familiar with. All right, so 1 degree of Cancer is Nablum, and it says this spirit intelligence will be pleased to inform the spiritual light by inspiration, and intuition on various degrees of warmth, temperature, in respect to alchemic or sporadic methods. Sporadic is basically like magic mirrors or compound fluids. It's in Bardon's book. Which book is that? It's the same book I was talking about with the electric fluid. I think it was the Key to Kabbalah, something about the Key to Kabbalah by Bardon or whatever. I think that's the book. If you need it, let me know. I have a digital PDF of it. I can upload it into the group if anyone doesn't have that book or the other book by Bardon. Nablum is an expert in alchemic and sporadic operations, and the spiritual light can profit much in this respect by his inspiration. So you would use alchemical. First of all, alchemy is the whole transmutation thing. That's something that we've been talking about. The sporadic operations would be using like a magic mirror to get something done, or understanding how mirrors work. And I had made a comment to one of the sisters that there's a mirror that you can get that is not made of glass. It's made of this combination of metals. Of course, it's a pretty expensive mirror, and it comes out of India. However, this mirror gives you a more accurate reflection of what you look like, because the mirrors that we have made out of glass, the glass has a thin coating of silver on the back, and that's just not really an accurate reflection of what we look like. It's too different. But these mirrors, they have a more accurate reflection, and now they have a group of them that are actually made by women, whereas before they were never made by women. They were made only by men, and now they have a woman who took over the family business, and they're being made by women now. So we have to be able to see ourselves accurately. And that's a real problem. That just doesn't go for what we can see with our eyes. It also goes for how we evaluate like how we're doing, where we are. And a lot of people don't like doing this kind of reflection because they feel like, well, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm this? What if I'm that? And it's kind of like, well, it's not about whether you're wrong or right. You just want to be accurate in your understanding of who you are. Because people don't really take the time to do the inventory into what kind of person they are, a lot of people actually end up, making mistakes that are unnecessary, or even like just in general doing stuff that's unnecessary because they don't have an accurate reflection of themselves, and that's really unfortunate. So I really suggest to people that they take an accurate accounting of who you are. And maybe that's what you can ask this guy, because it's the various degree. Think about this whole thing with various degrees of warmth. Like, are you warm in your assessing of yourself? Are you cold? Some people are, they're very cold in their assessment of themselves because various things. But this particular lunation is hitting all of the all of the energies, the earth, the fire, the wind, the air, or the air and the water. Earth, fire, air, and water. It's hitting all of the signs, or all of the, oh man, whatever you call those things. My brain is not working. Um, it's like, okay, shut down. Like, you can't shut down in the middle of shooting a video, man. It's hitting everything. So everybody is being activated in one way or another. That's another thing, that you can't run from this energy. Everyone was born under a sun, a moon, an ascendant. So even if it's not public, if it's whatever, it still don't change the fact that you were born under either earth, fire, uh, air, or water. So everybody, there's no getting away from any of this stuff. Like, you're going to be touched by it. I don't know why I can't think of what it is. All right. Vesta is at 1 degree of Leo, and that's Cosim. And this spirit intelligence instructs the spiritual light in the fire principle of the zone girdling the earth and its influence on our physical world. At the same time, the spiritual light learns from this head how to use spiritually the principles of light, fire, and above all, electric fluid for spirit, soul, and body. So this is another using the fire or the temperature to use what is it called? Oh y'all, I don't know what's going on. You use the electric fluid to heal people, where you pull the energy from the sun and you kind of force it out. It's funny because the saint that I was talking about in the last video that I made, public video, that was about the crop circles. She could basically make fire come out of her fingertips, and that's, she would use that to heal people. That was one of the accounts somebody made, is that it would appear as if fire was coming out of her fingertips. So these are not things. This is a real person. This is a real, real firsthand accounts. They did not make this stuff up. So this is something that we have complete and total access to. So that kind of energy is definitely in this thing, and you can see now why she would be, kind of over this whole judgment thing, because somebody's got to be making the judgment calls, that has the authority to do so, because they lived a human life, and they didn't make the choices that these other people made, these horrible choices. All right, so here's the 29-degree spirit intelligences that we have, and then we'll do the 30. All right, Pluto is at 29 degrees of Pisces, and this is Yelemis. It says this spirit intelligence reveals to the mature spiritual light, the most secret mysteries of the love divine, and makes him realize its range of power in the mental, astral, and physical plane from the spiritual Kabbalistic point of view. The realization of this divine love must naturally create within the spiritual light a feeling of happiness, which brings him up to the highest grades of ecstasy. We also have Sedna at 29 degrees of Taurus. Okay, so with Yelemis, of course, you can ask to help with divine love. Love divine. You can ask to, be revealed some of the secret mysteries of love divine. That's probably the best way to put it. All right, Saturn is at 29 degrees of Taurus, and this is Calamos. It says this spirit intelligence can reveal to the spiritual light excellent methods for the grafting of plants in our physical world. But since he has a great affection for the sea and he lives in the sea, he can, apart from that, name the spiritual light special spiritual methods by which he gets under his power and controls everything that lives in the water. So, of course, this will be related to Sedna. She's churning at this, 0 degree of Gemini for a while. And one thing I can say, that grafting of plants. This could be also grafting of people. Like, how do you bring people into your circle? How do you bring people into your family that you're creating? This would be a great question for this guy. All right. So Vesta is at 29 degrees of Cancer, and this is for Fasan. And this spirit intelligence draws the spiritualized attention to the various systems of wisdom. He reveals to the spiritualite his own individual way, which he will travel once he has reached a certain degree of maturity. In the zone girdling the earth, this head is regarded as a protector of wisdom and the keys to it. So this guy is the one that you ask for wisdom, for sure. And of course, Vesta's here. So that's, the Vestal Virgins. This is those kind of, spiritual mysteries related to spiritual mysteries related to spirituality, or mysteries related to spirituality, wisdom mysteries related to spirituality specifically. All right, so here's our 30-degree page. We have Sedna at 30 degrees of Taurus, and that's Sapasani. This spirit intelligence is an excellent master of the spirituality of water. All being living in the water and all elemental beings obey this head. His special knowledge is connected with the use of sea salt for purposes and operations of alchemy and magic. This spiritual light is informed by Sapasani how he can get into touch with water beings in the sympathetic manner by using a small pinch of sea salt, and how he can make useful for his various purposes the powers of the elemental beings of the sea. And he is initiated to many other practices by this head of the zone girdling the earth. So this is the guy for, okay, like all of these, like, animals are beaching themselves and all this weird stuff is going on in the water. Look at where Sedna is. I mean, this 30-degree element has everything to do with who runs the water. The 29-degree element, the 0 or 1-degree element, all have completely to do with water. It's very, very much tied into getting these waters under control. And being that, when the flood occurred, the Most High gave the creatures of the sea more territory to operate on. You can understand why there's got to be a large amount of cleanup there. As below, so above. And so you will see a lot of these entities that maybe we thought were lizards really weren't lizards. They were really sea creatures. And as the sea gets cleaned up, a lot of them are just also going to be there, because I have this theory that they cast their spirits or their souls into these sea creatures. And I think this is why they made the dolphin sounds illegal and stuff like that, because this is where they cast themselves into in order to avoid dealing with their karma. So that's why the waters have to be cleaned up first. It's not like everything's going to be cleaned up and then the waters get cleaned up last. No, the waters are going to be cleaned up first, and then everything else is going to be cleaned up, because the water, most of this planet is water. How can you not clean the waters first? So all of these, entities that are beaching themselves, like I said, in my opinion, it's entities that's not supposed to be there. It's entities that animals that allow these different entities to cast their energy into, and so all the exits are sealed. Nobody is getting out here. And so just like Jesus cast the demons into the pigs and the pigs jumped in the water, now the demons are being cast out of the water. They're coming onto land, and there's still the result is the same. They're going to take themselves out. The spirit is going to return to the body that it belongs to, and you're seeing a lot of crazy stuff that indicates that what I'm saying is probably more correct than not. All right, Vesta is at 30 degrees of Cancer, and that's Sharon Thona. That sounds like somebody's name for real. This spirit intelligence imparts to the spiritual light diverse practices with the Akasha principle. On the basis of the special methods, Cherathona demonstrates to the spiritual light how diverse spiritual operations have their direct cause in the Akasha principle and therefore produce effects. Sharon Thona is an excellent connoisseur of the laws of cause and effect, i.e., an expert on karma. And this is where Vesta is. So you've got Vesta and Sedna really hammering this water karma. I think that's probably why you see a bunch of floods and stuff like that happening right now too, especially in certain areas. All right, you have Neptune at 30 degrees of Pisces, and this is Borea. From this last head of the zone, and this is the last head of Pisces, is the last, planet, or not planet. Pisces is the last constellation, and you have Neptune churning in the last constellation, of the whole zodiac, churning at this 29 degrees. All right, Borea. From this last head of the zone girdling Earth, the spiritual light can give through thorough information on the correlative effects of elements and fluids in the whole microcosm and macrocosm, i.e., in all spheres and on all planets of the zone girdling the Earth, in all three planes, mental, astral, and physical. And he can also get exact information on the spiritual application of these effects. So this guy specifically, he can tell you how to make everything work, how to use, how these things go together. That's what we spend most of our time doing on this channel, is figuring out, okay, what are the similarities instead of like breaking everything down into differences. How is this similar to that? How is this similar to that? Like, I went to the youth committee meeting at the church last week, and one of the things that they were talking about is that a lot of people who convert to Orthodoxy they're kind of like complaining, well, why are y'all using like teaching material from the regular church? And they don't understand that the principles are still the same. Like the regular church is not a separate church from the Orthodox church. They just practice differently. It's a matter of practice. It's a matter of organization. It doesn't mean it's not part of the same universal church. It takes a lot of like deep thought to understand how that works, and a lot of people are converting, especially based on what people are saying online, and they're missing out the whole point that these churches are not. There's nothing wrong with these churches. They're still churches. They just practice things a little bit different. They have different customs. It doesn't mean that it's not a valid church. Even if the Ortho Bros say it, because many of them do, they're very, very rude. It does not mean that they're right. They're very, very rude. And they're not working with any spiritual intelligence. That's really what it is. They have no spirit team. All they have is that one saint that was assigned to them. And that saint is busy with people who actually want to work the way that they work, and this is the way that they work. You can also ask this guy for that kind of information. All right, this is really fascinating. This full moon, the saint kind of over it is this is the end of Pascha season. I spelled Pascha wrong up there. It's Pascha. But this is the end of Pascha season. So Pascha season has been going on ever since May the 5th. We're way past the 40 days. The ascension was on the 13th of June, which was a Thursday. And this day, when this full moon happens, is the last day of Pascha. Like the last day of the Pascha celebration, which I mentioned, it goes on for 6 full weeks, 40 full days after Pascha or Easter. These people recognize the Savior. And I was going to read the whole article on this, but I'm just going to read this paragraph here. The leave taking or apodosis of a feast refers to the final day of the post-celebration period for major or great feasts, which has its distinctive features in liturgical services. From church history, it is known that leave taking of the most significant Christian feasts, such as Pascha, I spelled it way wrong. No, there's an H. Nativity, and Pentecost, it began to be observed as early as the 4th century. Later, the established liturgical order was adopted in its current form. The post-celebration period of Pascha is the longest among the great feasts, lasting for 40 days. This is because, according to church tradition, the Lord, after his resurrection from the dead, remained on the earth for 40 days and appeared repeatedly to his most pure mother as well as his holy disciples and apostles. So this is literally the end of the feast, the days when Jesus, quote unquote, will return to heaven to take his throne and to begin his judgment. And so, in my opinion, this is what you ask for. You ask for our brother to begin his judgment. Starting with you, always start with yourself. Look, judge me, get it out the way. Whatever I did that's wrong, let me deal with it. Let me deal with the karma. See, because what a lot of people don't want to do, this whole lunation is about karma. A lot of people want to run away from their karma. They're not asking, hey, let me deal with my karma now. Let me get it over with. Let me pay for it, whatever it is that I may have done. And you repent, obviously, so that you're not paying for stuff that you really didn't mean. But these people don't want to repent. They don't want to. And maybe that's what you do. You would take this as the last opportunity to repent while our brother is here doing his thing during this feast. And then after this feast, he's gone. He goes in and does, the next phase of what needs to be done. So that's what I would be. I would take this as an opportunity to repent for any and all sins, known or unknown, and for your inheritance to be blessed. That's usually what we do in the Orthodox Church. So that would be my suggestion. There's a good time to repent and a good time to ask for your inheritance to be blessed. Boom. Because this is the last. I mean, it's amazing that this feast lasts through this specific lunation. Like, I can't even tell you how unbelievable these dates are and the way that they line up, like, so perfectly. Like, you can't, like, these are things that couldn't be made up. You couldn't plan this out on a calendar and say, okay, this is what we want to do. We want to have the full moon in Capricorn at the end of Pascha. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. It just count the days. And so the fact that this just happens to align with this day is it's really unbelievable to me personally. And so I hope you guys see the awesomeness in this. All right, so this is the America Civil Chart. I'm going back to calling this the America Chart because the Americana Nation got their own chart, and maybe with the beginning of the new year, we'll specifically work on blessing our nation. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to use this USA chart. For example, because I don't do candles for the USA anymore. We have our own nation we need to be worried about. So these people are going to have to pay us if they want us to pray for them. So they saw what things were like when we did pray for them, and now we're not. And they'll see what things are like too. So they're more than welcome, because I know they listen to everything, to come in and pay for us to pray for them. But it's going to cost. And not no little bit of money either. Y'all spending $20 million in that guy on a submersible some point this week to try to finish this ritual from last year. So 20 million sounds good, per prayer. Per prayer. I'm not playing with y'all. This stuff is hard. So in their chart, they have Eris. Eris is the sister of Aries. And Eris actually is the one who started the Trojan War by, throwing a poison apple or a golden apple, and then everybody started fighting over it. So she started the Trojan War. And you have Pluto at 27 degrees. So she's at 8 degrees, and Pluto's at 27 degrees in the USA chart. These are both in retrograde, so these energies are they take a long time to play out. And I guess that's probably, they wanted it like that so that they had a lot of time to do their dirt without having to pay any karma. However, the karma is here. There's no doubt about it. So on the candle, of course you would be, what? This is all kinds of backwards. I got it backwards. I knew it would. All right, so the candle would be Hannah L, which is Capricorn. That's in black ink. Black candle and black ink. I got the colors backwards. And so they have Porto. And I would say for this, please initiate daughter Zion in the Americana nation to protect themselves from the malicious influence of the earth's rays. I did not know the earth had rays. Look for a video about that coming soon. I need to look into that. What does that mean by the earth's rays? I didn't know the earth had rays. And I don't know what that means either. Kiliosa. Please help daughter Zion and the Americana nation learn words of power that will save their lives instantly. That's what that person is good for. So the written request, which you would do for your right burner release, America's Capricorn is in their second house, which is Asmodel, should be written in green ink. I got it backwards. In the Casio hour. And it says, I am releases any and all blockages to income, assets, agriculture, planning, and strength. And so that's how I would form that. Then I would maybe put something else underneath it. I would just go intuitively with all this stuff when you're doing it for yourself, because it really depends from month to month. What I did for the full moon last month, I'm not doing this month. I thought I was like, oh, this is what I'll be doing every month. No, it was just last month. Not this month at all. Maybe next month. I don't know. It's very weird. So a lot of this, please do it intuitively, okay? Of course, this is our right burn release. We use a withdrawal slip. Also, this will make this make a lot more sense. I feel like if we use the withdrawal slip on the deposit slip when it's dark, when the dark moon, because there's nothing there and you're putting something into it. Withdrawal slip when it's fully illuminated and you're pulling something out. So hopefully it will help to trigger which one to use when. I just keep forgetting, so I needed to be more specific even for myself so that I don't get it all wrong. So, of course, if you have any questions, I know it's kind of late for this information, but I did start working on it over the weekend, but I just couldn't pull it together, and I can see now why. There's a lot of energy going on. It's very, very difficult. It's just one of those things that you have to like grin and bear it and push through and know that there's some relief coming at some point. When? That's a little bit harder to tell, but there is some relief coming, okay? So I hope this meets everyone well. Again, if you have any questions or anything, please send me a message. The full moon is on Friday, but you could do this. You could start as early as today. You can go all the way through Sunday. It's 2 days after. So if you can't get it quite done until Sunday, Sunday is Pentecost, like actual Pentecost. So you know, if you can't get it done till Sunday, don't worry, that's Pentecost. So this is you've got time. I personally am going to try and get mine done today. That's my goal, but I have a lot to do because I still have more planets activated by this lunation, so it might take me a while to get all of my things written down, and I might even have to use like 2 candles just because of how many things I have. So we'll see. And again, I am writing in pencil. I'm writing the names in the color, and I'm writing my requests in pencil. So definitely don't forget to make use of your pencil wand, okay? So shalom everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.